In Ann Arbor, a ritual of September, a statement game. Who's got the stuff of a champion, the Wolverines or the Irish? In Columbus, last year's champs face a test from the wounded Wolfpack. They're feeling no pain there. But what about the pain of NC State star tailback? We'll have that. We'll hit all today's hot spots coming up on College Game Day from Michigan.
Years finally here, game day with Bubba K. Ain't nowhere to hide, so just line it up and run the play. Everybody wants to be a winner in December, but first we gotta separate contenders from pretenders. Not so fast, my friend, tell them Corso. Our show is so superior to your show. ESPN, the king of college pigskin. 10 years and running for a flat towards another 10. Welcome to the big house, Sir Ty Willingham. The honeymoon is over and a loss will put him in a jam. Just as it would Lloyd Carr's Wolverines. The Irish and the maize and blue, we all know what it means.
College Game Day is built by The Home Depot, proud sponsor of college football's premier pregame show.
They have been revved up and ready since dawn. The two largest college football fan bases on the planet represent it here. It is a beautiful, beautiful September Saturday in Ann Arbor, Michigan. If you can't get ready for Notre Dame versus Michigan, pick a new sport. The ADT National Championship Trophy. That's in the dreams of both teams, but a long way to go. Hey, like the brothers of Delta Tau Delta, we've been kicked off campus. We're over here. We're like a driver's 7-iron from the big house on the 7th hole. It's a 325-yard par 4.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
I see Bag of Vance over there.
That's my wheelhouse. This is easy hole.
This is a great time of year, Coach, because the pendulum swings, the fortunes kind of rise and fall with each quarter, don't they?
Well, you know, Chris, last weekend was a perfect example of college parity in college football. 16 of the top 25 teams won their ball games, but the games were closer than the experts thought. In fact, 5 of the top 25 won their games, but then lost the games because they were unbeaten and got beat by underdogs. Kirk, the big thing about this thing is I got my eye on 2 top 10 teams. Watch out. Special bonus for you.
Okay, what do you get?
De La Hoya, TKO in the 10th
Sugar
round.
Shane. Oh, Sugar Shane's
yeah,
going to get him back.
crazy.
No, we'll see. We'll stay up late for that one along with all the other rest of the college games. I'm with Lee. I think the upsets are part of September, but I think this is my last warning call for the BCS conference teams. Every week we see BCS conference teams showing up against non-BCS teams and just showing up and going through the motions. Today, Fresno State and Oklahoma. Hawaii plays USC and UNLV plays Wisconsin. These teams need to show up ready to go, or once again, we're going to be talking about upsets and near upsets.
They don't listen to you. That's a hard message
every
to
week.
get. Rocket, are you a little bit, let me check your pulse. You ready to go?
Emotions are high. The emotions are high. Help me. I don't want to hyperventilate. But let me tell you something. First time at the big house since 1989. As you can tell, there's no love lost. But one thing that's special about this game is because it's always early in the season, whoever wins it propels them to success for later on in the season, and whoever loses this game, it pushes them back in the middle of the pack, and it makes them struggle for the rest of the season. I can guarantee you this, though, because Notre Dame and Michigan have been meeting since 1887, whoever wins this game is going to have a special season. Guaranteed.
All right, that's good. We'll find out later who you think's going to win. Geez, who will that be?
I wonder.
One of the many storylines on a busy Saturday of college football. We talked about the game in Columbus. The Buckeyes are bracing for the wounded Wolfpack with no Mo for the season, no O lately. Can Krenzel find his form? What about TA status? In Austin, it's the Hogs and Horns, a chance for Mock to step up and answer the mocking gesture of Houston Nutt. Hogs are big underdogs. Yeah, interesting.
Good game.
And the Nittany Lions limp into Lincoln. Can they grow up quickly? Because the black shirts are smelling blood there. This one has real potential for payback. But first, edition 31 of a classic, born, as Rocket said, in 1887. Michigan, the all-time leader in games won. Notre Dame, the all-time best winning percentage. Competing legacies interwoven, natural enemies from border states. So, which side can enrich its legacy in 2003? Well, inside the Wolverines' den, there's kind of a special look in the eye and a feeling in the gut. The players sense this could be a national championship type season. What they've lacked so far, though, is a worthy opponent to prove it. Well, that wait is definitely over. In this rivalry, the rankings mean nothing. The lower ranked team has won 4 of the last 6. Usually, the first 58 minutes don't mean quite as much as the last 2. 9 of the last 11 decided by a touchdown, including last year, when 4 takeaways and some breaks really set the tone for Notre Dame's season.
The luck of the Irish is things tend to go their way a lot. You know, it really does. And I mean, it shows throughout the years. It really has. And you know, they say, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you are. So I think they're a hard-working team.
It's something that they believe in, the luck of the Irish, but you have to create opportunities that have luck, and I think that's something that their defense has done. So I really don't think it's luck. They just create opportunities and they take advantage of them.
Navarre back to throw, steps up, looks, fires the pass, intercepted.
If luck was there, I'll take luck every week as long as we get a win out of it. But I mean, there's a little luck in it, but I think those things just sort of happen at this place.
Of all the opponents Notre Dame has faced, they only have a losing record against about 10 of them. I mean, among the teams they've played at least 10 times, they have the worst winning percentage versus Michigan. The last 9 in this series, though, stand at 4-4-1. The good news is they're going to meet every year until at least 2011. And just like every single game between these teams in the modern era, not a single unsold ticket. That is remarkable.
That's unbelievable. You know, one thing we know for sure is that the Irish have talent. They're well coached. They got wonderful fans. They have showed all those qualities last week when they rallied from a 19-0 deficit against the Washington State football team. So it's a good team. What we know about Michigan is nothing. All they've done is beaten 2 cream puffs. They have not been challenged. We don't know if they've got anything yet. And just a note for you, the last 3 times these teams played, Notre Dame has beaten Michigan 2 times. Notre Dame has got a lot going for them today, boy. A lot going
for a guy that picked Michigan in a national title, you're kind of down on him leading into this one. Michigan's offense over the years has been built around their ground attack. That's obvious. But the great Michigan offenses have had the ability to strike both on the ground and through the air. Unfortunately for Michigan fans, you got to go back to the 2000 season, really the last great Michigan offense, and that was the year the Wolverines won the Big Ten. You can see over 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing. Now, this year's group appears to be heading in the right direction. A big, experienced offensive line. Chris Perry's running with the determination that he showed as a true freshman, and a senior quarterback with a boatload of wide receivers to throw the ball to. But this game always is physical. Notre Dame's going to put everybody they have at the line of scrimmage to take Perry out. John Navarre's ability to throw the ball downfield will be the key to this game. Will he have time to throw, and will he be successful throwing? Yeah, for Perry, for Navarre, for Braylon Edwards, Houston, Central Michigan, that didn't mean a lot. It's the next 4 hours. Notre Dame will test him. Notre Dame will test him up front.
You remember a few magic moments in this series, huh?
Hey, man, let me tell you, the last time I was at the Big House was in 1989. We were fortunate enough to wake up some echoes, and you heard people in the stadiums talk about, why'd they kick it to him? How come they kicked it to him again? After the game, I was fortunate enough to make the cover of Sports Illustrated. My roommate was cool enough to point out that of the tens of thousands of people who read that magazine, potentially Janet Jackson could have been one of them. Man, I felt better about that news than I did about returning the 2 kicks. But let me tell you this game is a special game. I can't emphasize it enough, and you're going to see some special things happen today.
You still have a Janet Jackson thing, or did you?
Hey, man, I'm past the Janet Jackson deal. Married now, 8 years, all is well.
Beyonce, I don't know who the
roommate had the priorities straight back then, right?
We'll be all over this game from every angle, I promise, including a very unusual method of preparation for Notre Dame. The timing of the Irish, we'll focus on that, hear from their side of things, and we'll hear from John Navarre. Is he about to make a statement for his career? That's all coming up. But meanwhile, another eventful week in Columbus. Yeah, there's a huge game coming up in about 90 minutes. But hey, first our Maurice Clarett Minute, a weekly tradition right here. With number 13 suspended for the season, many in Columbus are wary and worried that he is about to sound off and try to torch the program. He has not done that so far. His circle of advisors did shrink a bit this week. Jim Brown backing away. But there still is no shortage of people telling him what he should do. What most people think he should do, Kirk, is come back to Ohio State after the suspension. But that might be the hardest thing for him to do, swallow it.
Yeah, I think something that's being overlooked here is you got to go back to his confrontation with Andy Geiger at the Fiesta Bowl to really look at this. I think Maurice is approaching this situation and thinking that Andy Geiger has become an enemy. And this is a personal attack from the athletic department on Maurice Clarett. I think that's Maurice Clarett's view. I think it'd be very smart for Maurice to set aside his differences with Andy Geiger, if that's how he's viewing it, and to be a little bit more logical when he tries to emphasize what's important to do here, because the key is Jim Tressel came out this week and said, listen, if he does what he needs to do off the field, we'll welcome him back next year. I think you need to be very, very smart with this decision, Maurice, because what other choice do you have? Is he going to go to 1AA? Well, if you're going to pay your dues, you might as well come back and play 1A football, and that would be at Ohio State.
This trouble all started with a Monte Carlo. A Monte Carlo?
Yeah.
I mean, a Bentley or a Benz. I mean, something like that makes more sense. There is a curious development. Speaking of 1AA, Grambling head coach in a press conference actually held up a jersey with number 13 and made some comments about Clarett possibly transferring.
We have Maurice Clarett, and then that means a lot of people wouldn't have him, and we can use him. And I'm sure that if you look at it, 1,267 yards, 16 TDs. I don't think Ohio State would have won a national champion without Maurice Clarett.
Doug just happened to be pretty familiar with Maurice's stats. The NCAA would not directly comment on this, but that is a pretty classic example of what they call tampering. And that could actually be a problem if you wanted to go to Grambling.
Well, I think Maurice should do one thing first, based on a lot of experience in my life. I think he ought to step out of the limelight and let all this hostile environment and hostile emotions settle down. Get a couple of close friends that he really trusts that's not using him without a hidden agenda and make a decision. Now, that decision, in my opinion, if you ask me, was to go back to Ohio State, graduate from Ohio State someday, and Jim Tressel, I think, is doing the right thing, giving him one more chance. You know why, Kirk? 20 years from now, the best thing in the world for Clarett was to graduate from Ohio State and play football at Ohio State. Forget all that other stuff.
You know, from 7 days, you've come full circle.
Exactly.
Because last week you said he's burned too many bridges.
Exactly.
And the heck with him.
Yep.
This week you're saying support him and come back. And I think that's the thing. I think Ohio State has shown that they are willing to support him if he does what he needs to do and thinks rationally about what is best for him. Forget about the NFL. Forget about the CFL. His only choices are going 1AA or sticking it out and coming back to Ohio State. You're going to sit out regardless. Why not come back and play big-time college football as opposed to Grambling or Youngstown State?
Both choices really tough for him.
Yep.
You can't wait to see. Right? Again,
rational.
They're still holding their breath for that possible Clarett press conference there, aren't they? Any minute.
Could be.
Another curious development in Columbus. A woman was arrested for stalking and harassing Jim Tressel via the telephone and visits to his office and the team hotel. She remains in jail on $105,000 bond.
Can we get anything? Is there
boy,
anything
it is
else
never dull. We will get to the NC State game. That's a big, big ball game coming up. Big game there. The Lions embarrassed the Huskers last year. The two proud programs meet. Will it be payback in Lincoln? And Notre Dame. Timing is everything. They mark practice with a metronome, the rhythm of the Irish. An interesting story coming up. And in a bit, the season has only just begun, but already a classic college comeback at the Orange Bowl.
And this time he's intercepted. Miami will survive it.
All right, we'll continue on College Game Day from Ann Arbor. John Navarre from relative GOAT to darn near Golden Boy. How this unsung guy turned it around. And Lou Holtz was less than pleased with his quarterback's comments in the papers. Would Georgia's defense make a special effort to dog the Gamecocks today between the hedges? Of course, we're here today because of the greatness of this rivalry. It's a rivalry in which legacies are shaped, whether you're a kicker or a quarterback. When Michigan has the football, there's going to be 220,000 eyeballs on John Navarre. Regis Philbin will be among them.
This is the kind of game Notre Dame excels in. underdogs by 10 points in the rival stadium. 110,000 fans trying to intimidate them. This is where they suck up all that spirit, all that tradition, and this is where they know they're Notre Dame, and this is why they're going to win.
I see Regis every day at the gym. He's been pumped up while he's pumping all week. You know, speaking of John Navarre, he has started more games at quarterback than any of the Wolverine quarterbacks who are currently in the NFL, from Gerbach to Brady, and next year we learn now Drew Henson. Although he is fiercely defended by his coach at almost every chance, Navarre has heard really more boos than bravos in his career so far. But as Tom Rinaldi reports, now is Navarre's time to prove just how far he's progressed.
Navarre's going to have to step up the quality of his play in this football game.
Points on a scoreboard may measure the game, but not always the man. In John Navarre's journey at Michigan, points in time offer a different gauge.
The low point.
The second quarterback in Michigan history to start 4 season openers, Navarre's early career was consistent, only in its criticism.
He wasn't confident. You know, people telling him that he wasn't good enough, you know, maybe he started to believe it just a little bit.
They were telling me I was the worst quarterback to play football. I heard a comment once, a student actually emailed me and said I couldn't even play badminton well.
He threw 13 interceptions as a sophomore, 4 in a loss to Ohio State. Watching that season on film when it was over, Navarre was stunned.
I looked at what I was doing and tried to assess my play on film, and I said, no, I'm not having fun out there. I'm playing for different reasons. And I was like, where is that high school kid, and where's that guy who's not worried about those things, who just plays football? The turning point.
To rediscover his joy for the game, Navarre began working with a sports psychologist before his junior year. The sessions would redefine his career at Michigan.
He took every single snap in spring football, and every single time he went to throw Skelly in the summertime, he acted like he was playing the Michigan-Notre Dame game.
In terms of the psychology session or work that you did, what turned around?
The confidence level turned around completely. I was focusing on other things that I couldn't control, and really I developed my personal goals, my ideal self. He established an ideal self, something I want to achieve. And I wrote down and developed what the ideal self was made up of.
That ideal self was a more ideal quarterback.
Navarre's got a man open in the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan!
Navarre set season records in attempts, completions, and yards, ending the season with a stirring bowl win over Florida.
As soon as that game ended, that was for the first time in my career, I was anxious to start the next season. The exclamation point.
We'll find out that exclamation point hopefully in January sometime. That'll be his defining moment.
John's journey should end with greatness, you know. He deserves it.
Everybody says a quarterback here is measured by, a championship. And I think that would be my exclamation point, is just being able to lead my team to a championship, doing my part, doing my job.
Well, they're hyping him here for all kind of awards. Davey O'Brien, there have been some Heisman whispers, but it's pretty early for that. And as for a defining moment, John, you don't have to wait 4 months for a championship. No. 4 hours from now would be a pretty good defining moment. He's 23-8 as a starter. His teammates say he's the most respected guy on this team because of what he's been through.
I think having 30 games of game experience, going through the failures that he has gone through, allows him to get under center today as a confident quarterback. But I'm telling you right now, there is pressure on John Navarre. They're chanting Heisman. He's 3 interceptions and a loss away today from being booed off this stadium's field. That's a lot of pressure for John Navarre.
Kind of hard on the guy, aren't you?
I'm
let me tell you something.
I like the
John Navarre is still one of my top 2 Heisman picks, and I think he's going to be great today. I think he's going to come out smoking and do a great job.
I'm not down on the guy. I'm just saying that there's pressure on him to perform today.
No doubt about that. You're sending me mixed messages. He's going to have a great day. Look, I can't wait to see what
he's all over. You're all over the place.
By the way, he looks older than his quarterback coach, Scott Leffler, doesn't he?
He does. I thought Scott might have been the backup.
He's been through a lot. He's aged a little bit.
Yep.
Ohio State's been through a lot in a young season already. No Clarett. Can they get it going against NC State? We'll talk about that ball game. The Seminoles defense having little trouble shutting down the opposition today. Another good ACC defense comes to tally. And Wake Forest back in the rankings for the first time in a decade. But America's wondering, who are these guys?
the past, I think they were able to put a W on the schedule before the season started and write that thing in ink, but it's probably in pencil now.
Welcome back. We continue our 10th anniversary season on the road. We were here in our 94 classic Penn State, Michigan. I think Michigan's won every game.
Every game.
We've been here since that game. All right, back to Notre Dame and Michigan. We talked about this rivalry, just kind of magnifying deeds and misdeeds. Heroics are never forgotten. We've got a guy who's very qualified to take us through some of the high points, but I got bad news for you, Rocket. The current players, they talk about when I was a little kid growing up way back in the day. I used to watch old-timers like Rocket.
That's what's messed up about your life. Well, let me tell you, this Notre Dame-Michigan rivalry has been going on for years. And in those years, many, many highlights. I got a chance to check some out. Take a look.
They went for it all. A diving catch for a touchdown. Holy cow. Would you believe this?
He got the penny. Afterburner's a run. A touchdown. Irish.
My coach, before the game, predicted that I was going to take 2 to the house. Literally, that ended up happening, and it was a great feeling. Obviously, I'm wearing green today, representing the luck of the Irish, but sometimes the luck rubs off and the wrong people grab it. Like that play, I can't believe that just happened. It literally rolled off of the back and into the hands of the adversary. Good God. There was a play where Andresiak hit Tim Brown in the corner of the end zone with like 75 guys on him. That's right, 75 guys were covering Tim Brown, and he made a spectacular catch in the corner of the end zone. Desmond Howard was no joke. 2-1 was representing. They came down to Notre Dame and did damage right there, taking it to the house. Or talk about playmakers, he is one who carries a long line of Michigan playmakers.
The kick is on its way. It's high enough, long enough. It's good.
Good God, you're breaking my heart. 2 highlights in a row. Pomp, circumstance, tradition, all that stuff. If you win at the big house, you're doing something big. Yes, y'all. Those highlights were cool. But, oh, snap! The Magic Man! Desmond Howard, yo! Give it up for your man! Yo, this is crazy. What you doing, man? What's going on, Rocket? Good to see you, boy. Good to see you. Hey, yo, man, let me ask you something. Okay. All right, obviously you and I are actually watching the game from the sidelines. Right. You still get those same butterflies that you did before the game now?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You get nervous for the young guys because you know the excitement, the intensity, and the emotion is flowing through them because we've been there before.
Right, man. Hey, bruh, you had some magnificent highlights, man.
Yes, sir.
Of all the things that you did against Notre Dame,
yes, sir.
Which one was your favorite play?
I think my favorite play was the 4th and 1 catch in the back of the end zone. I mean, that was... Yes, sir. That was my favorite one, no doubt.
Man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we got Desmond Howard, the Magic Man, Heisman Trophy winner, all-time Michigan great. I'm telling you, special things happen.
Yes,
special things happen.
Oh, yeah.
No, I guess you can show love. You can show love once you're out. That was a lot of hugs right there.
That catch, he's right. 4th and 1. Remember that catch? Back of the end zone. That was big.
You know, amazing. Desmond just happened to wander by wearing headphones. I mean, what are the odds of that? He'd be here on a golf course in headphones. Is this the best non-conference rivalry? Well, tell us what you think in the Singular Championship Text Challenge poll, and you could be on your way to the BCS. So let's log on to ESPN.com and vote. Those are the choices, and this isn't one of them. USC Notre Dame representing the Notre Dame non-conference rivalries. Yeah, all right. A couple of classic college programs going head-to-head in Lincoln. Bitterness building since last season. What's wrong with the Lions? We'll hit on that. And last Saturday, the Canes found out they've got a legitimate leader at quarterback. We'll hear from them.
Berlin to throw. Brock over the middle, got his man, touchdown!
All right, we'll come back. Last year, Fighting Irish fought off a furious Wolverine rally. Today, Michigan looks for revenge on the road to a national title. Lee thinks they can get there. Penn State What is going on with Joe Paterno? What's going on in Nebraska? What's going to happen today in Lincoln? So many questions still to answer. We will come back and we'll talk about who's going to win this game between Michigan and Notre Dame. And what about the Irish? Is it skill versus luck? We'll try to get to the bottom of some of that Notre Dame mystique.
On Campus is presented by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Predictions ahead in the moment that Kirk has waited a week for. I promise you it's worth waiting for. We've had a lot of fun with Notre Dame's penchant for creating and then cashing in on breaks, but is it the fountain of good fortune? Is it age-old belief, as Rocket thinks, or is it aided by new technology, a device created to train musicians? So, Coach Rockney, Coach Leahy, listen up. George Smith has the story of a high-tech tool the Four Horsemen could never have dreamed of.
It was just out of the blue. Son, I don't know what, you don't know what you're getting into. You hear metronome, you think maybe it's a drink or it's, you know, some kind of supplement or something, but it was actually good training.
Very unique training. The interactive metronome involves computer-generated tones to fine-tune a player's senses and coordination to above-average levels.
It is a program of focus and concentration enhancement that allows a player to better focus all of his energies on the given task.
In one exercise, players hear a cowbell sound in their headphones and try to clap their hands at that exact moment.
You hear beep, beep, you just gotta beep, 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 try to clap when the beep comes.
It gets to the point where, you know, you're looking at it and you're like, I don't know how I can clap this many times in a row and just still be on the beat.
Guys used to joke about this all the time?
Used to joke about it because, you know, we're like, you know, how can clapping, you know, help us get any better, you know what I mean? But, I mean, Coach Willingham always preaches it to us. It's not like really what you're doing, it's how you do it.
Originally designed to help musicians, the metronome was later found to have positive effects on those with learning and attention disorders. It also enhances the mental speed of the athletically gifted.
It just helps me just as far as exploding off the ball, like getting to a point where I can just feel and anticipate when it's going to come, because in any way, shape, or form, it's going to take you at least two-tenths of a second for human recognition to see movement. But if you get to the point where you can just feel that movement, then that just negates it and you're off on the ball before that guy even gets out of the stance.
If you have the ability to focus and concentrate on the task at hand, then especially during pressure situations, you're much cleaner, you're much clearer in your thoughts and your view of what's taking place, and therefore, it should enhance the ability to make big plays.
Got a touchdown! Chased out of the pocket, sack! Touchdown, Irish!
You think ultimately it makes a difference?
I think so. I mean, you're going to have distractions during the ball game. You know, the crowd's going to be in it, other players going to be yelling at you, and you got to remain focused on what your goal is. And I think that was the main goal of, you know, metronome.
I don't know if it can make the difference between winning and losing the game, because you still got to go out there and hit guys. You still got to catch the ball. I think it helps you focus to the point where you can help yourself win the ball game.
You get hypnotized during the piece. You okay? Notre Dame is the only school using this. The Miami Dolphins use it, but USC and Northwestern are looking into it. I guess if the players think it makes a difference, it makes a difference, right?
I mean, I'm going for that thing. Sounded good anyhow. I think two players on the Big Blue will make the difference in this ball game today. Let's take a look at the first one. Tight end Tim Massaquoi. Now, because of the cover two, the Notre Dame plays number 88, becomes a weapon. Remember, he was a former wide receiver. And there's my favorite, Carl Diggs. He's the stuffer up the middle. Watch him stuff the middle and make him bounce to the outside. Now, the way I look at this situation is Notre Dame has the metronome. They've got tradition. They've got great talent. They've got great coaching. Poor old Michigan will have a hard time just trying to stay in this game against the mighty Irish of Notre Dame.
You're going to the whip. I mean, you're really going to the whip. We got props here before we get to the good stuff with the headgear.
Are you ready for this?
You guys,
it's a big moment for you, Nelson.
Now, on game day, it's become affectionately known as the South Bend factor. And you know what I'm talking about here if you follow Notre Dame football over the year. If this game comes down to turnovers, field position. You need to catch a break. I'm telling you, we've learned Notre Dame will find a way to win this game. Let's look at our EA Sports virtual playbook to break it down. I didn't make a prediction. I'm just saying if it comes down to the luck of the Irish,
What is that leprechaun doing?
the leprechaun will be ready. Here's a key play. Notre Dame coming up. There's a fumble. Wait, somebody kicked it into the air. Courtney Watson's going to pick it up. Rumbling, stumbling, fumbling all the way down. The Irish, that's a big scheme. That's the luck of the Irish. That's a big factor. Here we go. 3rd and 19 for Notre Dame. They're down by 6. Incomplete pass. Uh-oh, wait a second. Incomplete. Personal foul. They roughed the passer. Automatic first down. Irish keep the drive alive. Here's a pitch. No question. Michigan recovers it. Oh, no. Ryan Grant picks it up after it falls on the ground, goes down the field, and scores a touchdown. The luck of the Irish could become a big factor today. And if you're Michigan, don't allow this game to be close in the 4th quarter, because we've learned Notre Dame will find a way to win. The luck of the Irish.
It's a great use of technology in this segment.
That's very analytical.
Very analytical.
Next level stuff.
What do you got for us?
Let me tell you something, bro. You know what I got for you.
I can't wait.
I tell you right now, they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, this is what I got for you, baby. Right there. Manifest that. Manifest that.
It's not the right number. It's not the right number.
Oh, that's the right number. Number 1. There it is. There it is. That's what I got for you today. And that's how I'm going.
I know you're joining the team as an objective journalist, but it's darn near impossible for you.
Today is an exception. Today is an exception.
Notre Dame's an exception.
I understand.
Michigan.
Well, one guy's weighed in. Left side of the set will weigh in. When we come back, lightning round picks, and we'll pick this game in Ann Arbor right after this.
On Campus is presented by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right. College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help. And in part by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best.
Purdue and Wake Forest in 1 minute. Lightning Cap recap.
Okay,
here.
I got Wake Forest, Ohio State, Texas, and South Carolina win.
I think Purdue's going to show up angry. I like Ohio State to find offensive rhythm, and I think Texas, Arkansas, great game with Texas winning.
That was lightning round. All right, who wins the 31st meeting, and which team launches a great season this afternoon in the Big House?
Well, I think, despite what a lot of people have said, anytime you put these teams together, it is going to be a tight game going into the 4th quarter. I think this is the opportunity that John Navarre has waited for, and I think he takes advantage of it today by throwing the ball. I like Michigan to beat Notre Dame.
Despite your computer animation.
I think John Navarre's the key. John Navarre's the factor today. Gets it done.
Out comes the headphones. Oh, the old school Wolverine helmet.
The Heisman. Look at the helmet. I'm looking good. Go blue. Go blue.
A custom-made old school with no face mask.
See, now he
we'll be here all day.
You
Enjoy Purdue and Wake Forest.